This is Lukadowski of WeAreChange.org here in Krakow, Poland, all the way back here at Steemit Fest, here at a very interesting cryptocurrency online alternative social media conference. And in this video specifically, I wanted to talk about with the latest technological advancements, I do believe that we are at a precipice of either total enslavement or total freedom. Did I say precipice right? Okay, and to talk about that, we have Luke Stokes, who's a major player in the cryptocurrency world. He's doing a lot of exciting things, especially with EOS and decentralization. And Luke, we've been talking for a while in this. This is kind of our first interview here, but we had a lot of important conversations, especially with what's happening in the kind of crypto world, the blockchain world. Again, the crypto, blockchain, kind of Bitcoin world is a new technology that's advancing. And just like any new technology, people will either try to use it for total centralization, total control, total enslavement, or they will do the opposite of it and use it for decentralization and liberation. Luke works on the decentralization part, and I usually prefer and like a lot of the people who work on that specific aspects, but when it comes to decentralized governance, when it comes to the kind of crowd that is not that tech savvy, how would you describe it? How would you describe decentralization and the kind of bigger freedom efforts that are being pushed with blockchain technology?
Thanks for having me. It's really important to talk through. Decentralization is one of those words people throw around but they don't understand or they haven't kind of defined well. And we think about it in terms of no single point of failure. So a lot of the problems we have with governance is they use threats of violence, they use threats of force, and they have a single point of failure. So certain people make mistakes and then we all suffer from it. So we're trying to build software on the blockchain, and a blockchain is essentially this transparent, verifiable data store that everybody can look at and say, yeah, we can prove that the good things happened we wanted to happen. And there's no single point of failure when you have multiple people involved in the governance of that. And that's an aspect of how the blockchain secures the data that can be spread across multiple keys, permission systems. So essentially, we're trying to build a mechanism where we can have consensus globally and non-violently.
And it's been a practice that very few places in real life have actually gone through. One of the places I think did it is Chiron in Mexico. They have a decentralized form of existing that is not top-down, but horizontal form of representative authority, but it's not even really authority. It's just people coming together being like, okay, we're not going to hurt anyone, we're not going to do anything bad, we're not going to screw, extort, rob, loot, and violate basic human principles because we're all human beings living here. It's those basic ideas, and that battle is kind of being forged online, but also a lot of people aren't aware of so many different things because, a lot of people don't even know how their cars work. How do they expect to even understand how their phones work? And with all the new software out there, all the new code out there, all the new websites, what is something to look out for as far as good things and bad things in this new digital space that is really, really important for you?
That's an excellent example, because even in that example, they didn't use technology. They would line people up, right? I saw your videos on that, and it was like simple solutions to complex problems, just line people up, and then you can know their votes. In this situation, it's really important that it's decentralized, that the people involved don't directly benefit from whatever they're building, so that it's like any token holder can benefit from it, and you can actually look who's got skin in the game, who has stake to make sure that this is going to function in the best interest of the token holders. So we've seen this with different blockchain projects where they don't have a mechanism for governance that's actually on-chain, that's actually verifiable. So they have people that are kind of like pushing their own agendas, and you get these drama that gets created between these different warring groups who are all trying to benefit themselves. So it's important to look at, what is the governance model, who benefits, and how are we going to structure things so that the actual people, the token holders themselves that have stake in the game, actually can have governance to say, hey, look, we want this to happen and not that to happen. We want these outcomes and not those outcomes. And if that can be done in such a way where everyone gets a vote, there's an equal opportunity for everyone to participate, that's really important. And also, it's like you said, a great analogy with the car. It's really complex stuff at this stage. It's kind of like the internet in 1995, right? It's like nobody really understands it. It's a little confusing. So it's going to take a little while as well. And hopefully, like we were talking about before with EOS DAC, we're working on trying to make decentralized autonomous communities something simple and something that you may not have to know all the details of how your car works, but you can just put in the key, step on the gas, and it'll go. as people want to build, instead of building new startups, they might build new DACs, new decentralized communities where everyone's a token holder, everyone's an owner, everyone's an employee, everyone's a customer, everyone benefits from the value we all create together. It's a really powerful system, but with that you need to have governance. You need to have a way to know, well, who makes sure somebody doesn't run off with all the money, right? No single point of failure. So being able to protect the funds that's created, kind of these shared collaborative commons ideas is really, really powerful. And the technology is available to do that, but as you said, we have to be careful, because if we don't manage our private keys, other people can take over the systems.
It's a very exciting landscape that's being technologically developed, because it does allow a lot of opportunities, but also what will thrive is what people give attention to, what people give energy to, and if people are just not going to do their own research and homework and just go with the Ponzi schemes and the buttholes out there who want to centralize and control everything, well, that's what we're going to get, and it's important for us to pay attention. That's why we're doing this interview. That's why we're going to call this video probably Total Freedom and Decentralization or Total Slavery, and it's pretty much up to your hands. And you have to admit, there's a lot of fart-sniffing Lamborghini buttholes in this movement who are just total scammers, who are looking just to make a buck and take advantage of this new technology. Like even what happened with Tether. If you guys don't know, there's so many scams out there, so many people just trying to use you. What has your experience been, and when it comes to the bad, like what do you see that's like, stay away from that, be warned? What's your tips out there to like see what fart-sniffing, Lamborghini driving buttholes not to support?
It's the same thing your mom will tell you, if it's too good to be true, it is. And so if you don't personally have the technical ability to evaluate something and understand whether or not it's going to do the thing it claims to do, then you need to know people and get relationships with people who are that technically capable. And that's something that I've been trying to do, a lot of people trying to do, take the complicated technical things, break them down in simple terms, and explain them. So a lot of these cloud mining and ICOs that are just like, they have no product map, they have no experience in the real world building systems. There's another thing we were talking about earlier. There's a lot of opinions about things, but often from people who have no experience actually building it. They have an opinion about how it should go, but once they actually try to build it in the real world, and they start looking about common law and statutory law and all these different joint severable liability and these ways that people are going to go to jail if they don't build these things correctly, even though we want a future where none of that even exists as far as the existing judicial system and all that. We have to start thinking about, if it's too good to be true, then it is. Understand the technology, just like you take personal responsibility for your own protection physically, you have to take personal responsibility for your own financial protection. And it's the same kind of systems. So what we're trying to do is make things a little bit easier. So you don't have to be a computer expert to even understand these systems. But at the same time, if you're not sure, get to a trusted community. And that's what's great about Steemit and other different platforms there, where you're not going to be censored to putting the truth out there. And those who are putting out the crap, the crypto bros putting out just scams and just trying to make money, they can be downvoted by the community as well, and that's part of the responsibility of maintaining those communities.
Well, that's what I like about Steemit, and why I'm here at Steamfest is you put information out there, it's on the blockchain, it can't really be taken down. DTube works a little bit differently, but that's because it's videos and the blockchain technology hasn't really advanced for videos, but it's working on there. I still even heard some bad stuff about Steemit, to be honest with you. But one of the things that caught my attention recently, especially on social media, did you hear about the Q initiative?
Yes.
Did you hear about that?
Oh gosh,
all
my friends.
All my friends are like, earn $150,000, just refer 7 of your friends, give us all your personal information, just use blockchain Q thing, and then I'm like, this doesn't even have any blockchain in there. It makes no sense at all. I don't know if you want to talk about that, but you also wanted to kind of challenge the community, and I like challenging people and challenging their kind of mental thought frames that we all have established and are very rigid in our minds. So, a lot of people are always like, total freedom, total anarchy. But you want to challenge that in a specific way, so I'm going to give you the microphone.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just, as I've been working with EOS DAC, and we're actually trying to build these things again in the real world, we're talking to lawyers, and we're realizing, and I was just honestly ignorant, and I've talked to other people who are not so much in the anarchist voluntarist community, and when I tell them some of the things that I think and my community thinks, they're like, really? Are they just children? Like, have they not built real things in the real world? Like, none of what they're thinking is reality. They're all going to go to jail, or they're going to get sued, or they're going to get fined, or whatever. And I started learning about the actual risks involved of what we were trying to do, and I started talking again to these different lawyers who have lots of experience. And these are like crypto-friendly lawyers. They love what we're doing. They recognize the problem with the system, and they want to improve it. And they started educating me, and I started realizing, oh man, I don't want to make compromises. I don't want to ideologically make compromises, but I have to recognize that when we're building in the real world, we run into real problems that require complex solutions, and we got to jump through legal hoops, for example. We got to do things that maybe we wouldn't want to do today, so that we can get to the future where we want to get to. And that involves full decentralization, hopefully no use of fiat currency ever. But today, you have contracts, for example, you have workers' compensation in certain jurisdictions, all these crazy tax issues that I don't want to deal with. Yet, I have to deal with if I want to build a system that's going to then replicate the systems that help other people. So my call to the community is, when we have an opinion on something, a strong opinion, an ideological opinion even, I hope it's an educated one. I hope we have some actual experience and skin in the game trying to build the systems that we're talking about that's going to change the world. Because just talking about it, just putting out media, just writing books, that's all super important. It changes minds, it changes thought patterns, which changes actions. That's super valuable. And we need builders, people actually building the tools that will replace the systems we don't like today, focusing on the value of those systems. And in that process, I think we'll all get a little more educated on the realities of the world we live in and the dangers, essentially, of trying to just say, well, it's decentralized, so we don't have to deal with all this. You're still going to be considered an association as far as the government is concerned, and you're still going to be held accountable with joint and several liability, and any one of those people involved can be thrown in jail for something someone else did. And these are realities that I don't like hearing about, but as I talk to these lawyers and they challenge me and I recognize, wow, I'm kind of ignorant on this world and how it works, and maybe some of my community is a little bit too. So again, it's a call to action. Let's get educated, let's understand the law as it exists today and all the different, human farming jurisdictions on the planet, all these nation-state governments, and let's build a better system that doesn't use violence and actually uses consensus by the token holders on chain.
Yeah, not a fan of human farming at all. Luke Stokes, thank you so much for all the information and sharing time with us. The link to Luke's Steemit or Twitter or whatever will be, of course, in the description below of this video. Thank you again, wonderful, amazing human beings, for being a part of this broadcast, sharing it because you thought it was useful. If you did, I appreciate you guys very much. Donating, keeping us alive and independent, and expect more from us here at Steemit. A very interesting conference, by the way. They got QR codes where you can just scan and follow people automatically. That are just walking around here. They got headphones, they got like 4 different panels happening, and you can just switch out the headphones and be like, channel 1, 2, 3, or 4, and listen to a whole bunch of speakers and just be in one place. So really, really professionally done conference, enjoying my time here. Stay tuned for a lot more coverage here on youtube.com/we are change. Love you guys.